So once I've included my other 3 axes and shafts, I am then completed my motor assembly. So I'm making sure to save that, and then I can begin assembling my entire robot. So to do that, I'm going to create a new assembly, and I'm going to place into this assembly, for now, I'm going to do a single rail assembly, and a single motor assembly. And then finally, I will place in my angle, my 2x2x20 angle. I'll place 2 of them in. Now, it's really important that we look at this from the right direction. So as you can see right now, I'm looking at it probably upside down. So I'm going to flip myself around. So I'm looking at it from the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and see right now this says bottom. I'm going to right click on my cube here, and I'm going to set this current view as my top. So now this should be my front. Perfect. So now the first thing I'm going to do in my full robot assembly, I'm going to ground my first piece here. So my first piece is my rail assembly. So I'm going to right click on that and hit grounded. What that does is that makes it so that this piece can no longer move around. So see, if I click and drag on it and try and move it, it won't move. But all of my other pieces still can be moved around. So now all of these pieces will be constrained to this piece here. So I'm going to start by actually taking one of my rail pieces and constraining it to, my angle pieces and constraining it to one of my rails. So again, that's simple mating and flushing at this point in time. So I know by common sense here that this surface of my rail is going to touch on the back side of my angle, like so. Apply that, and then I know that the underside of my angle is going to touch the top side of my rail. Finally, I'm going to switch over to a flush constraint, and I'm going to flush up the edge of my angle with the edge of my rail. So there's my first piece. And then from there, I can go ahead and drag my other piece almost into place. It should be, I believe, 3 holes in from the outside, so I'll kind of get that close. Again, I can mate the front of my rail with the back side of the angle. So after that, I'm going to mate the top of this with the top of that. Apply. I'll look at it from the top again. And I know it goes 3 holes in, so 1, 2, 3. So I'll drag that over. If I zoom in, you can see the flat edges of our piece. Oop. So now all I need to do is constrain, use my flush constraints, and flush those 2 edges up. And now my motor and axle and everything are all in the proper place. So then I can repeat the same process on the other side to get my rail in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly before showing you how to do the wheels and gears. At this point, you can see I have one side of my robot assembled, and I need to add the gears and wheels to finish it out. So to do that, I will go ahead and place in my wheels, my gears first. So I need 3 gears. And they will get mated the same way we did our axles to our bearing flats. So I'm going to put an axis in for each one. And I will then mate the axis to the existing axis. To get it finally lined up, I will drag my gear off a little bit, and I will mate the flat surface of the gear to the flat surface of my rail. And that will apply that. I will do that same thing for each one of my gears, and then once that's completed, I will go ahead and put my wheel on. Now I have all 3 gears on. Now it's time to add the wheel. So I'll place the wheel in. And again, it's just going to be mating the axes. So I'm going to go ahead and constrain the axis of the wheel with the axis of my shaft. I can then drag that out a little bit, and then I will go ahead and mate the inside of the wheel to the outside of the gear. And before I apply that, I'll take a look, make sure I'm not causing any problems, and then I will apply that. And I'll do the same thing with my other wheel on this other shaft. Once you have this all completed, there is one final step we can do to get all of this on the other side without having to repeat the whole process. To do that, we can use the mirror command, which you might be familiar with from other times, but if not, we can do that easily. So the first thing you need to do is insert a plane using the plane tool right up here. We'll drop it down. We're just going to do offset from a plane. In our case, we're going to click the edge of our angle here, and we're going to offset it by -5 inches if you're using the 20 rail, and that will put yours right in the center of your angle. So now we can hit the mirror button, and we can select all of the components that we want to mirror, like so, and then we can hit the mirror plane button, select the plane in the middle. It might take a minute for your computer to process this. You will then see this like green outline appear, and then once you are ready, you may hit next and OK, and it will then copy all of this assembly over to the other side of your robot. It might take a minute or two for do the progress bars down here, so this does take some time because it is a very complex action. So just be patient and wait for it to finish, and then once it's done, it should appear right on the opposite side of your robot. Like so. As you can see, we have all of the components. So there is the base of the robot. The only thing left to do is to install the cortex and the push button on the robot and create your drawings. So there we have it. That is how to assemble your robot in Inventor.